So once again, the liberals themselves cuck themselves. I don't even have to really try that to transparently reveal the utter hypocrisy that is the liberal establishment. I was watching CNN the other day, as I frequently do, mostly to get ideas on what exactly these neoliberals are planning and how we can stop them at every turn. Because all the real agenda is to take the wealth and the resources from the middle class, from the people who sweat and bleed, from the people that live paycheck to paycheck, from the people that starve, are evicted from their homes, thrown out of their homes during a housing crisis, are sent to wars for Halliburton, Raytheon, and the military-industrial complex. They want to take that wealth and funnel it to the 1%. The election has revealed to me that there are people in this country that they're not patriots, they're not nationalists, they're cowards, they're cucks. They go along with the conventional wisdom and the social norms. The conventional wisdom and the social norms, 1800s, was slavery. The conventional wisdom and the social norms in the 1900s was segregation.
What's something that you always carry with you?
Hot sauce.
Van, what are your thoughts?
It's well, it's easier to be a parent this morning. It's easier to be a dad. It's easier to tell your kids character matters. It matters. Tell them the truth matters.
Now to the controversy that has suddenly erupted around the Democratic presidential candidate Joseph Biden, the charge that he has plagiarized parts of his speeches. Today, Biden was forced to take time out from his Judiciary Committee duties to hold a press conference to answer two charges: that he copied part of a paper when in law school, and recently adopted as his own quotations from the Kennedys and other politicians. The story surfaced last weekend when the New York Times compared a Biden conclusion in a debate in Iowa to a well-received speech delivered last year by British Labour Party leader Neil Kinnock. First Kinnock, then Biden.
Why am I the first Kinnock in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university? Why is Glenys the first woman in her family in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university? Was it because all our predecessors were thick? Did they lack talent? Those people who could sing and play and recite and write poetry, those people who could make wonderful, beautiful things with their hands, those people who could dream dreams, see visions. But why didn't they get it? Was it because they were weak? Those people who could work 8 hours underground and then come up and play football? Weak? Those women who could survive 11 childbearings? Were they weak? Does anybody really think that they didn't get what we had because they didn't have the talent or the strength or the endurance or the commitment? Of course not. It was because there was no platform upon which they could stand.
And I started thinking as I was coming over here, why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university? Why is it that my wife, who's sitting out there in the audience, is the first in her family to ever go to college? Is it because our fathers and mothers were not bright? Is it because I'm the first Biden in 1,000 generations to get a college and a graduate degree that I was smarter than the rest? Those same people who read poetry and wrote poetry and taught me how to sing verse? Is it because they didn't work hard? My ancestors who worked in the coal mines in northeast Pennsylvania and come up after 12 hours and play football for 4 hours? No, it's not because they weren't as smart. It's not because they didn't work as hard. It's because they didn't have a platform upon which to stand.
And it's easier for a whole lot of people. If you're Muslim in this country, you don't have to worry if the president doesn't want you here. If you're an immigrant, you don't have to worry if the president's going to be happier to have babies snatched away or send dreamers back for no reason.
We have this notion that somehow if you're poor, you cannot do it. Poor kids are just as bright and just as talented as white kids.
This is vindication for a lot of people who have really suffered. You know, I can't breathe.
Listen, you got to come see us when you come to New York, VP Biden.
I will.
It's a long way until November. We got more questions.
You got more questions, but I tell you, if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black.
You know, that wasn't just George Floyd. That was a lot of people that felt that they couldn't breathe.
You cannot go to a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts unless you have a slight Indian accent.
I think the two-party system, although my Democratic colleagues don't like me saying this, I think the two-party system is good for the South and good for the Negro, good for the black in the South.
They're going to put you all back in chains.
Every day you're waking up and you're getting these tweets and you just don't know, and you're going to the store and people who have been afraid to show their racism are getting nastier and nastier to you, and you're worried about your kids and you're worried about your sister. And can she just go to Walmart and get back into her car without somebody saying something to her? And you spent so much of your life energy just trying to hold it together. And this is a big deal for us just to be able to get some peace and have a chance for a reset. And the character of the country matters. And being a good man matters.
Reporters packed a Capitol Hill news conference to hear Senator Biden's response to the plagiarism allegations. He was asked if he indeed studied the Kinnock videotape.
The answer is yes. I looked at that tape. I was moved by that tape. We sat down, I turned it on, I said, my Lord, look at this guy. Look at what he is expressing here. And I looked at it once and I didn't have to look at it again. And what I would do out on the stump, I'd say, I saw a tape from Neil Kinnock where he stands there and he's angry. And he looks out at his people and he says, why am I the first Kinnock ever to go to a university? It doesn't take much if you feel that, folks. You don't have to look at that 10 times. I saw that and it was a connect. I mean, I could tell how that man felt.
I just want my son to look at this. Look at this.
And let's be very clear about this. When Vice President Biden was in the United States Senate working with segregationists to oppose busing, which was the vehicle by which we would integrate America's public schools, had I been in the United States Senate at that time, I would have been completely on the other side of the aisle. And let's be clear about this. Had those segregationists their way, I would not be a member of the United States Senate, Cory Booker would not be a member of the United States Senate, and Barack Obama would not have been in the position to nominate him to the title he now holds.
It's easy to do it the cheap way and get away with stuff, but it comes back around. It comes back around, and this is a good day for this country. I'm sorry for the people who lost. For them, it's not a good day, but for a whole lot of people, it's a good day.
So once again, it doesn't take a genius to realize what's going on in this country. There's two schools of thought, just as there were at the beginning, patriots and loyalists. One school of thought says not to rock the boat, to comply with the conventional wisdom and the social norms, to be content living as a slave, not as a free man, under a monarch, an oligarch, an elitist, has no power over you. Only God has power over me. No man. That was the idea that our founding fathers took when they formed the Constitution, when they went to Lexington and Concord, when they went to Philadelphia in the convention and created the independence that we so richly have benefited. That is a significant event. And yet, Some have slipped back into comfort. Some have slipped into nothing but apathy. And we are left with people who want to be free and people who don't care. Also, there's people who work for the people who don't want us to be free. They are the mainstream media. They are the deep state. They are the people who keep us afraid, keep us not asking questions, keep us so hooked, so completely dependent upon the conventional wisdom and the social norms. The conventional wisdom and the social norms of this country in the 1950s was segregation. The conventional wisdom and the social norms in the 1990s was to ban gay marriage, to amend the Constitution so that some Americans could not have equal rights. The conventional wisdom and the social norms is always about oppression. It is about control. It is about power. And I reject it. I revolt against it. I rebel against it. And I will always, to my dying breath, fight for freedom. Do I care about decorum? Do I care about the social norms? Do the social norms keep me from being free? Then they are my enemy. Here I am watching CNN. Van Jones chokes up at the thought of President-elect Biden. President-elect Biden. I mean, it doesn't even take a rocket scientist to transparently reveal the hypocrisy that is the liberal establishment. Here I am, wondering what the reaction would really truly be. I thought it would be a monotonous, vanilla-flavored joyfulness. But no, apparently Trump has really gotten under the liberal establishment's skin. I enjoy that. But not only that, this entire narrative of Joe Biden being someone who fights for the LGBT community, who fights for black lives, who fights for anyone but the military-industrial complex, the prison-industrial complex, and the credit card companies who pay him, who kept him in office, who kept him in the Senate for so long, who filled his war chest so that his incumbency could reign forever. He is only their loyal puppet, not yours. You are a cuck. If your leader is a puppet, you are a cuck. So the scariest thing still is to this day, I don't really know if Van Jones and the people in his ilk are truly sincere about their cuckoldness, or are they playing a game? Are they faking it? Because here in this video, you will see Van Jones tear up at the thought of the guy who created a crime bill who incarcerated half the African American race, who put the American people into debt, who took the resources and extracted it from the middle class and funneled it to his owners and his donors. Here you will see Van Jones say to you, bold-faced, that now is the time that someone with honesty and integrity will now sit upon the seal of the Oval Office. After all this time, after all the racist presidents, after all the segregation, after all of the hosing and Detroit riots, after all of the amending the Constitution to ban gay marriage, this is now the time. I mean, you liberals don't even make any sense at all anymore. Everything you say is only to your echo chamber. The rest of us wonder what the fuck you're talking about and what you're thinking. Because none of anything you're thinking is based in reality. Hey guys, this is